चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुताः पदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च। नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामीति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। वंचाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। So very happy to be here once again.
We missed you, Prabhuji.
Yes, even I missed you all for 2 weeks, but I was quite happy to know that the programs continued. You know, the first session you all saw some video of mine and then discussed something. And last week you all had a very good experience of Kirtan.
Oh, wonderful.
Very happy to hear. Very happy to hear. Shows that you all are quite sincere to understand. So 2 weeks ago we had at Vijayji's place we had begun the discussion on the first chapter of Gita. I think we discussed a couple of verses. So today we will discuss a few more verses and then a particular topic from the Bhagavad Gita which touches this aspect of tolerance. That's the plan for today. So the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, it starts with Dhritarashtra, the first verse, Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yuyutsavaha Mamaka Pandavaschaiva Kim Akurvata Sanjaya. So those who have Gita can refer to the Gita. So the first, this page 33, the first chapter, verse 1. So basically, the first verse of Bhagavad Gita starts with Dhritarashtra asking this question: after my sons and the sons of Pandu assembled in Kurukshetra, what did they do? So we discussed that, I mean, if you go to a battlefield, naturally you're going to fight. What else you're going to do on a battlefield? I mean, no one is going to go to a battlefield to take selfies. You go to a battlefield to fight actually. So it's understood that they are on a battlefield to fight. But Dhritarashtra is asking this question because this fellow, Dhritarashtra, he is very cunning. So we discussed this point that Dhritarashtra is a personality who is very duplicitous. So last time we discussed this word duplicitous. Duplicitous means he shows a picture, he shows a face of himself to the world, but he is actually something else. He is asking a very innocent question, but actually the intention is very mean and cunning. So Dhritarashtra is asking this because Kurukshetra is a holy place, Dharma Kshetra. So when you go to a holy place, naturally you get holy vibes. So Dhritarashtra wants to know, because it is Dharma Kshetra, whether my sons have developed some holy feelings and have they compromised. This guy, Dhritarashtra, he doesn't want his sons to compromise. He knows that they will die, but still he doesn't want to compromise. So we were discussing this aspect last time, that if Duryodhana and company, they are considered to be the tree of adharma, the root of this whole tree was Dhritarashtra. Just like now in Hindi films we might have seen, the one who goes and does the killing, he is caught, but actually there is a mastermind behind the whole thing who is never never even identified basically. So Duryodhan is the one who's blamed always, but the one who created Duryodhan was Dhritarashtra. He's the one who created. So Dhritarashtra is also a parent, a father. So when a father sees that the child is doing wrong, what should a father do? He should correct. If you don't correct, the small things will add up to bigger issues that will come up later. So Dhritarashtra acted as that helpless father, irresponsible father who didn't want to do anything. And the result now is his sons are going to face death, and they're going to face this war. So that's what in essence was the first verse. And we also discussed this point that, in a field, like you have a paddy field, in a paddy field sometimes weeds may grow. Prabhupada explains all this in the purport. So if you have gone back and read the purports, you will be able to connect to what you are speaking. So just like in a paddy field, rice grows, paddy grows, but you may have weeds also grow in the paddy field. But if you have an alert farmer, what will the farmer do? He will first identify the weeds. See, many times if you are not an expert farmer, it is very difficult to distinguish between what the actual plant is and the weed is. You need an expert farmer to do that. Identify what the weed is and he will pull that weed away. So Krishna, if Kurukshetra is a dharma kshetra, a field dharma should grow, and dharma is represented by the Pandavas, Yudhishthira and others. The weeds are represented by the Kauravas, Duryodhana and others. And Krishna is that farmer. So Krishna is personally present in this war, in this battlefield, to see that the weeds of adharma are uprooted completely. That's what Prabhupada explains in verse 1. So in the next verse we saw how after seeing this entire army, Duryodhan goes to Dronacharya. See, we'll not get into the Mahabharata in detail, but sometimes it's important to know Mahabharata. In our land of India, there are two histories which are very important. One is Mahabharata and one is Ramayana. These are called Itihas, histories. You may have so many other histories that children learn in school, but those histories are not so important. These histories are really important. So why we have to learn these histories is because these characters keep repeating again and again. The names may change. You may have Duryodhan, Dhritarashtra that time. You may have the same mindsets, Hare Krishna. You may have the same mindsets coming up again, only the names may change. It's good to see the house fall short.
I need a bigger house now, probably.
Yeah.
Please Prarthana, please.
Okay.
Those who can sit on the floor, please sit on the floor.
Yeah, those who sit on the floor will get maximum benefit. Okay. So, so the point is, Duryodhan had 11 Akshoni Sena. Akshoni is a division in those times. So Duryodhan had 11 Akshoni Sena and the Pandavas are only 7. But Duryodhan, seeing the army of the Pandavas, he is scared. Matlab, Duryodhan had thrown these people away without anything. Without anything, he threw them away, and just by their goodwill, they gathered 7 Akshoni Senas. So just seeing this, Duryodhan is so scared, he goes to his teacher, Dronacharya. So we discussed this point, more than quantity is quality. More than how big your team is, what is important is how united your team is. Duryodhan had a big team, but they were all divided. Each one had their own agenda. Pandavas, they had a small team, but all of them were very focused. They had great trust in Krishna and they had great trust in their purpose. So just seeing the confidence of all these people, Duryodhan was so scared. You see, when you are on the right path now, even though your number may be low, but there's a sense of confidence in you. When you're on the wrong path, Duryodhana was on the wrong path. When you follow the wrong path, your inner conscience is against you. However much number you may have, there is always fear in there. So the path of fearlessness comes when we follow the right path. Just like in Ramayana, you have the story of Jatayu. You heard the story? When Ravan was kidnapping Sita, Jatayu comes to fight with Ravan. Jatayu was a very old vulture. Jatayu knew he would die. But Jatayu was fearless because he knew this is the right thing to do. So when you are doing the right thing, even though the number may be less, still there is great power, there is great confidence in your eyes. So just seeing this confidence, Duryodhana was so scared, he goes to his teacher, Dronacharya. And what does he tell Dronacharya? We discussed this verse also, text 3. He tells Dronacharya, Paschaitam Panduputranam Acharyam Mahatim Chamum Vyudam Drupada Putrena Tava Shishyena Dhimata. This verse 3. So Duryodhana is telling Dronacharya, my dear teacher Dronacharya, just see the army of the Pandavas so expertly arranged by your disciple, the son of Drupad. So who was the son of Drupad? Drishtadyumna. So basically in a war, you have a commander-in-chief, right? So for the Kauravas, the commander-in-chief was Bhishma. For the Pandavas, in day 1, the commander-in-chief was a young boy called Drishtadyumna. So this Drishtadyumna was actually the son of Drupad. I think I told the story of Drona and Drupad. So basically Drona and Drupad were childhood friends, but they became sworn enemies very soon. So Drupad Maharaj did a yagya, and from that yagya one son was born. The son was Drishtadyumna, and he was only born to kill Drona. And when it was time for his education, military education, Drupad sent his son to Drona only. This boy is born to kill Drona, and Drona knows this, and he goes to Drona to learn education, but Drona gives him. Because a Brahmana, a teacher, his role is to give. He just teaches. Right? So Dronacharya thus taught him. So now Duryodhana is finding this fault and is telling Dronacharya, you made that mistake. What is that mistake? You taught this boy, now this boy is standing against us. So Duryodhana is trying to indirectly tell Drona, don't do that mistake again. Don't show soft corner to the Pandavas. So here you see two things. One is Duryodhana is an uncultured personality. An uncultured boy, an uncultured person will find faults with superiors. In Vedic culture at least, no student will go and tell a fault to a teacher. Tell a fault to a superior that you are wrong, this is your mistake. It's very uncultured. Duryodhana is like that, what can you do? Uncultured guy. So he is telling fault of Dronacharya. Second thing we see that Duryodhana is a very expert diplomat. A diplomat means a politician, very expert politician. He knows what to speak to get his work done. See, he could have said Drishtadyumna. He could have said, just see the army arranged by your disciple Drishtadyumna. But what does he say? He says, just see the army arranged by the son of Drupad. Because he knows that hearing the word Drupad will instigate Dronacharya. So very, very cunning and a very political guy. So we'll continue the verses ahead. So after this, the next set of verses, Duryodhana explains the important warriors on both sides. We were discussing this point, SWOT analysis, right? Before you get into any match, you analyze what is the strength and weakness in my side, what is the strength and weakness of their side, like that. That's how you generally enter into a game. So Duryodhana is very expert in that way. You see, minus his character, Duryodhana was good in everything. He was an expert manager. He was efficient in warfare. He was good in everything. But the only thing he didn't have was character and morality. So if you have to count a leader only based on how efficient he is, that's not the way you count. the actual test of a leadership is whether this person has some character or not. In Vedic education, who was considered an educated person? You'll have heard of Chanakya Pandit. Chanakya was a very great moralist in the land of India. Chanakya was the prime minister of Chandragupta Maurya. So if you all know history of India, Chandragupta Maurya at one time, he was the king of entire India. He ruled practically entire India and beyond. Why? Because he had a minister like Chanakya Pandit, very expert minister. And Chanakya Pandit, he was so detached from everything. Even though he was a prime minister, he didn't take 1 rupee from the king. Because if a Brahmana, as a minister, you start taking salary from someone, you can't speak boldly. Because you have to speak what that person likes. So Chanakya never took money from Chandragupta Maurya. And because of the suggestions of Chanakya, Chandragupta Maurya could rule all over. So Chanakya in one verse he explains, who is an educated person? We may feel that education matlab having degrees and this, that. So Chanakya in one verse he explains who is an educated person. You know what this verse is? He says, Matravat paradareshu paradravyeshtu lostravat atmavat sarva bhuteshu ya pashyati sapandita. He says, who is an educated person? One who sees the wives of others as mother. Matlab one who sees other ladies as mother. One who sees the wealth of others as pebbles and stones. And one who sees the problem of others as his own problem and tries to go to hell. Such a person is an educated person. Where will you find this definition? In modern world. So real education means having character. See, Krishna didn't want Duryodhana to sit on the throne. Not that Duryodhana was not an efficient king. He was an efficient king. But he was a characterless king. So if you have a king like this, then everyone else is going to follow the same path. So Krishna purposely wanted Yudhishthir to rule because Yudhishthir was a person with character. So Duryodhana is very expert. He's telling Dronacharya, the warriors, the powerful warriors on the side of the Pandavas, Arjuna, Bhima, Yuyudhan, Virat, Drupad, like that. And then he comes to the warriors on his side. So here also Duryodhana has a catch. See, as I was telling you, in Duryodhana's army, they were very powerful people, but none of them had affection for Duryodhana. They were all on his side for some personal reason. So he had a big team, but a very divided team. And Duryodhana knew that any of my guys can leave me at any time. For the Pandavas, the entire 18 days of war, there was only one commander-in-chief, Drishtadyumna. But on the Kaurava side, every time there was a change, there was always a fight. Who will become the next commander-in-chief? Everyone wanted that post. So when you have a team where everyone is aiming for the post, and when someone gets the post, others become insecure, then such a team is a team for just namesake, that's all. So Duryodhana now, he wanted to speak about the warriors of his side. So in front of him are Drona, Bhishma, Karna. He has to glorify all of them. Now Duryodhana is thinking, whose name should I take first? Duryodhana is feeling, if I take Bhishma's name first, Drona will feel bad. If I take Drona's name first, Bhishma will feel bad. So this is the mindset that he had. So he had to somehow keep people everywhere together. If you all know, before the war started, I don't know, I'm telling you a little about Mahabharata. I don't know whether you all want to hear or not, but thoda bahut Mahabharata important hai. Before the war started, Duryodhana comes to Bhishma and is telling Bhishma, because Bhishma is like a very powerful and a very senior personality. He tells Bhishma that, can you give an analysis of the powerful warriors on our side, like that. So Bhishma, he says, we are very powerful warriors, but this Karna, he is just half a warrior, Ardharathi. So Karna becomes so angry, he announces there, I will not fight until Bhishma is there. Matlab, Bhishma was on the war lasted for 18 days. Out of the 18 days, 10 days Bhishma was alive. 10 days Karna is not in the picture. मतलब इतना internal tussles था उनका, very difficult. So Duryodhana is completely confused. If I take Bhishma's name first, Karna should not feel bad. If I take Karna's name first, Bhishma should not feel bad. So somehow he handles all this. And then Duryodhana says, Anyecha bhavaha shura madarte tattva jivita nana shastra praharana sarve yuddha visharadha. And then Duryodhana says, there are so many other heroes, I can't name all of them. All of them are ready to die for my sake. All of them are ready to lay their weapons for my sake. So the Acharyas explain here, indirectly, Duryodhana is already telling what is going to happen. What actually Duryodhana meant to say was, all of them love me so much that they are ready to die for me. But actually the Acharyas say, Duryodhana is predicted his own end. What is Duryodhana saying? All of these guys, only for me, they are all going to die. And that is what happens. For one guy, why was this war fought? Because one guy was adamant, Duryodhana. One fellow. Because this one guy was adamant, so many people lost their lives. Right? So like this, Duryodhana is indirectly, he's speaking about his own defeat basically. And then you can see another place where Duryodhana is very, very diplomatic. Text 11, Duryodhana says, Ainechu sarveshu yata bhaga navastita Bhishma meva birakshantu bhavanta sarvam evahi. So Duryodhana says, all of y'all, please give full support to grandfather Bhishma, at your own respective positions. Why is saying this? There are two things. One is Duryodhana wanted to please Bhishma. Because Bhishma, he loved the Pandavas. Due to some reason, he had to fight from the Kauravas side, Duryodhana's side, but his heart was with the Pandavas. So Duryodhana wanted to, flatter Bhishma. So he tells everyone, and when Bhishma is hearing, he tells everyone, all of y'all, please support Bhishma. So he wanted to satisfy Bhishma. But actually Duryodhana had another intention also. He wanted to tell all the others, Bhishma is an old guy, don't depend on him. All of y'all, please take your strategic positions. This was an old crack nut, we can't count on him. So in one sentence, Duryodhana expertly is trying to satisfy Bhishma also and is trying to satisfy others also. So in this way, Duryodhana is very, very diplomatic. What does Bhishma do? Bhishma at that point, he just takes his conch shell and blows. Mature people, confident people don't speak much. They just act. So Duryodhana is trying to flatter Bhishma, this, that. Bhishma doesn't say anything. He just takes his conch shell and blows. And Bhishma is telling, through this one message of the conch shell, Bhishma is telling Duryodhana, I will do my best, but be sure that victory is for the Pandavas. So Bhishma blows. He says, I will do my part, don't worry. You don't have to flatter me, you don't have to give me pep talks. I will do my part, but for sure, victory is going to be on the side of Pandavas. Because where Krishna is, their victory is going to be there for sure. So in this way, Bhishma blows his conch shell. So when Bhishma blows his conch shell, in the Kaurava side, all other people sound their instruments. See, in olden days now, when the war was about to happen, this Kurukshetra war, it was a massive war. Millions of people involved. So there were people who would fight. There would be a group of people who would only create music. Because to fight also, you need that passion. So they would play those music. So there would be a set of people only to play music, to create that kind of music. And the war was such that these musicians, they were not harmed. And there was a set of people who would only cook. Because now, 18 days war, millions of people out there, they'll feel hungry now. So there'll be a set of people who would cook. There's a very interesting story. Vimal came from Udupi. You know the story? One time, when Pandavas and Kauravas, they were gathering their army, Krishna along with the Pandavas go to Udupi. All of you have heard of Udupi? So Udupi is very famous for the cookings, Udupi kitchen, Udupi restaurants. So they go to Udupi so the Pandavas wanted the king of Udupi to be on their side. But the king of Udupi didn't want to fight. So when Krishna and the Pandavas come there, he tells them, see, I'll not fight, but I will come in the war. And my seva will be, I will do cooking for everyone. I will just cook for everyone. So Yudhishthira says, okay, no problem, you come and cook. So the entire cooking for all the 18 days was done by the king of Udupi. Something interesting was, see, now in a war, you don't know how many people are going to die. So now if you have to make dinner, for how many people you make dinner? Well, you don't know how many people are going to die on the battlefield. But this king, he would make every day perfect. Nothing would go waste. No less, no more. Everything perfect. So Yudhishthira came and asked this Udupi king, how do you do it? How do you know exactly that these many people are going to die? So he said, very simple. Every day in the morning, I keep one bowl of groundnuts in front of Krishna. I count and I keep them. And the groundnuts Krishna eats, I multiply them by 10,000. That is the number of people who die. And exactly at the end of the day, that many people are dead. And then I cook that much. So that is how, Krishna was orchestrating this whole thing. So basically, there was this group of people to create music. So when Bhishma blows the conch shell, all the other people in the Kaurava party, they sound their all the other instruments and everything. And there's a tumultuous sound. Now on the other side, Krishna and Arjuna, Krishna is the chariot driver of Arjuna. Krishna and Arjuna, they sound their conch shell. So here is a very important aspect, a very important point here. This is the first time in the Gita, text 14. This is the first time in the Gita where Krishna is mentioned. First time in the Gita. Tata Shveter Hayer Yukter Mahati Sandane Stito Madhava Pandavaschaiva Divyo Shanko Pradatmuto. The first time in the Gita, Krishna is mentioned, Madhava. And how is Krishna introduced as? Krishna is introduced as the chariot driver of Arjuna. Bhagavad Gita is the book of Krishna. It is Krishna's book. Na? What does Bhagavad Gita mean? The song of Krishna, the song of God. Krishna's entry in the Gita as a driver. Just before this class, we were having a class where we were explaining the concept of seva. The concept of seva is so important that Krishna also is ready to serve his devotees. I mean, who wants to be a chariot driver? I mean, if you are introduced as a driver, it is something below dignity. No one wants to be a driver. Krishna is happy to be a driver of his devotee. So the concept of service is something that is very, very important. Right? When we get an opportunity to serve Krishna, and especially when we get an opportunity to serve Krishna's devotees, even Krishna is eager for it. So Krishna is introduced in the Gita as a chariot driver of Arjuna. And that point, Krishna and Arjuna both sound their conch shell. And each of them had a conch shell with a name. In a Vedic land, you keep one thing for a long time to come. This concept of use and throw is not a Vedic concept. Right? If something can last for years, you keep it. Right? So in those days, if someone had a conch shell, they would use that same conch shell every day. It would become part of their identity, become part of their life. Right? So Krishna had a conch shell. The name of Krishna's conch shell is Panchajanya. Krishna's conch shell is called Panchajanya. What is the name of Krishna's chakra? Sudarshan. Right? So, like that. Krishna has a club. The name of Krishna's club is called Kaumuduki. So everything has a name basically. So Krishna's conch shell is called Panchajanya. And Arjuna's conch shell is called Devadatta. Right? So Krishna and Arjuna start to blow their conch shell. Right? And like this. And it is explained that after Krishna blows, then Arjuna blows. Then Bhima blows. See, in the Kaurava side, it is all chaotic. Bhishma blew the conch shell, everyone else blew. But in the Pandava side, it doesn't happen. When Krishna is blowing the conch shell, no one else blows. Because they have respect for Krishna. After Krishna finishes, Arjuna blows. Then Bhima blows. Very organized and a very respectful group. Not a very chaotic group. Very respectful group. Right? And because they have respect, culture, discipline, you can see that even with a small group, they have become successful. Because there was so much discipline in the place. Like for those who have read Maharashtra history, you have Shivaji Maharaj. He fought with the Mughals. Shivaji, he had very less army, but very disciplined, very committed, very dedicated army. Because of that, he could do so much. So more than number is the kind of dedication, the kind of service attitude that you have. And it all starts with a leader. Today only we were explaining this last time. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the same Krishna, he comes in Kali Yuga, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So when Mahaprabhu was there in Jagannath Puri, you all know every year in Jagannath Puri there is Rath Yatra that goes on. Lakhs of people come for this Rath Yatra. So one day before the Rath Yatra, there is an event called Gundicha cleaning. So Jagannath Ji Rath Yatra starts from Jagannath temple. It goes 2 miles to another temple called Gundicha temple. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu along with his devotees, they would go and clean this Gundicha temple. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from the front, he would clean the most. So when a leader is in this mood of being a servant, doing the maximum, all the others follow. See, Krishna, in the army of the Pandavas, who is the leader? This is something very important. The Pandavas army, who was the leader? Huh? Good. So you just think about it. This is something very important to meditate on. Very important lesson. The Pandavas army, the emperor to be crowned was Yudhishthir. Okay? The commander-in-chief was Drishtadyumna, which I just told you, Drishtadyumna. What was Krishna's position in the war? Driver. He was a driver. But still, everyone respected Krishna. You understanding? In a mature society, they don't go by post and positions. Who shines out is the one who serves the most. So Krishna was respected by everyone as a leader because he was serving. You understanding? He was just not giving commands. He was not like Duryodhana, do this, do that, and he was not doing anything. He was actually doing from the front. So when you have a leader who is so humble, who is ready to do service, it automatically inspires everyone. What your thousands of lectures will not do, cannot do, an ideal example can do it. So Krishna was that perfect leader. When he knew that there are people to take care of things, there are more responsible people, more mature people, Krishna was happy doing the role of a servant. Very happy. And this kind of leadership, this is called a leader with no title. In today's world, you feel that to be a leader, you need a title. But Krishna is explaining through his example that a real leader doesn't need a title. He can lead by his example. Automatically he will command. So all the Pandavas had so much respect. One after another, they start to blow their conch shell. So that's the description ahead of how Yudhishthir, and each of them, they had their own personal conch shells. They started to blow one after another. So at this point, Prabhupada explains in the purport that how in this few shlokas, you could see so many signs of victory for Arjuna. You could already see the war. See, Gita is spoken, matlab the war has not yet started. War has not begun. Just conch shells are blown on both sides. Even before the beginning of the war, it was very clear that Arjuna is going to win. What are the signs of victory of Arjuna? First sign of victory was that Krishna was personally present on their side. So Prabhupada explains this shloka. I'll tell you all this shloka. So Prabhupada says, Jayastu Pandu Putranam Esham Pakshe Janardana. This text 14 in the purport. Wherever Krishna is, Jayastu Pandu Putranam. Why the Pandavas will be victorious? Yesham Pakshe Janardana. whoever has Krishna on their side will definitely come victorious. This is the first sign of victory of Arjuna. And the lesson for all of us is, if you want to be victory in life, if you want to be victorious in life, all of us have our own battlefield to face, right? If you want to be victorious in life, the message that Gita gives us is, have Krishna on your chariot. In the chariot of your life, is Krishna there or not? Duryodhana had everything, but he didn't have Krishna. Arjuna had Krishna. Simple. So this is the simple faith that devotees have. If Krishna is there in my life, victory is bound to happen. You don't need an astrologer. You don't need an astrologer. Very clearly you know victory is going to come. First sign of victory. Second sign of victory is, one of the name of Krishna is called Madhava. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is addressed by different names. In different verses, Krishna is addressed in different names. Right? So Krishna has unlimited names. So every time Krishna is addressed by a name, it is for a particular purpose. So here Krishna is addressed as Madhava. What does Madhava mean? Madhava means husband of Lakshmi. Who is Lakshmi? Goddess of wealth. Everyone loves Lakshmi, no? Again, people are devotees of Krishna or not, everyone is devotee of Lakshmi. Again, everyone wants Lakshmi to come home. So people do that Choti Diwali, Badi Diwali, what is that? Where they do Lakshmi Puja. People with lot of love and affection, they do Lakshmi Puja. But the problem is what? Lakshmi is wife of Narayan. Okay, she is a very chaste wife. She will stay in that house, only in the house where there is Krishna. She will not stay without her husband. If you tell Lakshmi, come to my house, she may come, but she will not stay permanently in the house. Where she will stay? Where her husband is. So that means if you have Krishna in your house, if you have Lord Narayan in your house, Lakshmi will automatically come. Otherwise Lakshmi will not come. Ravan kidnapped Lakshmi, Sita Maiya to Lanka. But did Sita stay there? No. Because Ravan took Sita, he didn't take Ram. So this is a materialistic tendency where you want Lakshmi, but you don't want Ram. Prabhupada would often say, you want Ram Rajya without Ram. Ram Rajya means perfect civilization. People want a perfect world without God. How is it possible? So Arjuna was very intelligent because he had Krishna with him. Naturally Lakshmi was there with him, victory was there with him. It is explained that the chariot of Arjuna, the third sign of victory of Arjuna, the chariot of Arjuna was given by Agni Dev. Something interesting, in the 18 days of war, there were like very celestial missiles used. Very powerful missiles. Every powerful warrior had to change chariots. Even Bhishma Dev, he had to change chariots many times. Because someone would throw a powerful missile, the chariot would blow, they have to shift the chariot. Arjuna was the only warrior, all 18 days, one chariot. The chariot didn't change. Because the chariot was personally given by Agni Dev, and more importantly, Krishna was there in the chariot. All those extra powerful missiles, Krishna absorbed. Right? So the chariot is given by Agni Dev. So that means when we serve Krishna, when we become a devotee of Krishna, all the demigods also support. Everyone comes to your support. Automatically they come. The horses of Arjuna were very special horses. They were given by Chitraratha, another demigod, Gandharva. The conch shell of Arjuna is called transcendental. Here we find the words Divyo Shanko Pradatmato. When Bhishma and the others blew their conch shell, it is not mentioned as transcendental. Not mentioned. The word transcendental is here. Conch shell, Shanka, is one of the symbols of Vishnu. You all know this? Vishnu has, in his 4 arms, he has 4 symbols. What are the 4 symbols? Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma. Chakra is for annihilation or to give light. Gada is also for annihilation. Chakra is basically to give light. Sudarshan means to give light. Gada is to annihilate the miscreants. Padma is to give hope and assurance to devotees. Right? And conch shell is to give transcendental knowledge or sound vibrations. So the conch shell is a symbol of Vishnu. So the word Divyo Shanko means just by blowing the conch shells, it was declared that victory is going to be for Arjuna because Vishnu, the master of these conch shells, is present on his side. Another symbol of victory of Arjuna was, see in those days, just like now election time, I mean election is wrapped up, now result time, whatever. So every party has a symbol. Like BJP, you can understand symbol, flower, hand, you can understand. So in those days, there will be many warriors with their rath in the war. How will you identify which warrior is where? There will be a flag on top. Every warrior had their own flag. Just by seeing the flag, you will understand below in this rath, this fellow is there. Understanding? That's how the whole thing was. Arjuna's rath, what was the flag on Arjuna's rath? Hanumanji was on the flag. Kapi Dvaja. Hanumanji was on the flag of Arjuna. This Hanumanji was just not a picture. It was actually Hanumanji. You all know the story. One time, this place is still there in Badrikashram. If you go to, any of you have been to Badrinath? Hello, been to Badrinath? So this place is there on the way. So one time the story is like this. When the Pandavas were in exile, Draupadi at one time she sees along the river in the Himalayas, she sees one golden lotus flowing and coming, just flowing in the water. So she tells Bhima, please bring more golden lotuses. So Bhima, to satisfy Draupadi, he runs around in the forest and he sees an old monkey lying on the way. And this monkey's tail is there. So Bhima, he tells this old monkey, please go away, I have to go. The monkey says, cross me and go. Bhima says, I can't cross. In Vedic culture, you don't step over anyone. I mean, these things may sound a little different for the modern generation and young children especially, but this is actually Vedic culture. You don't step over any person. So Bhima says, no, I can't step over you, you please move aside. So this old monkey says, no, I'm too old, I can't move. You only, the tail was on the way, you only push my tail away. So Bhima, tried to push the tail away. The tail was so heavy, he couldn't do it. So Bhima put his full energy trying to lift the tail, he couldn't do it. So Bhima was feeling very proud, but that day he became very humble. And he understood that this is not an ordinary monkey. So Bhima folded his hand and told this monkey, please reveal who you are. And this monkey revealed himself as Hanumanji. Hanumanji is also Vayuputra, Bhima is also Vayuputra. Right? So for Bhima, Hanumanji was like the hero. Like, if you go to traditional places where people practice kusti, you will always have a picture of Hanumanji there. So for Bhima, like Hanumanji was like the hero that he was always meditating on. Now actually got to see Hanumanji. So that time Hanumanji tells Bhima, when the war happens, I will be there with you. I will be on the chariot of Arjuna as the flag. And when you shout, Hanumanji is telling Bhima, when you shout, I will shout from the flag. And just our combined shouting will create terror in the hearts of people. So when Bhima would roar, Hanumanji would roar. Just the roaring of Bhima, elephants would become unconscious. That was how powerful it was. So this Hanumanji was just not a symbol. It was actually Hanumanji present. And what was Hanumanji's contribution in Ramayana, in the war between Ram and Ravan? It was Hanumanji was the main player. It was with the support of Hanumanji, Ram won against Ravan. So that same Hanumanji is here in the flag of Arjuna. What is the possibility that Duryodhana can defeat Hanumanji? What is the possibility? No possibility. Right? So the point is, just see in this one chariot of Arjuna, so many powerful factors. Krishna was personally present. Arjuna himself was a powerful warrior. Chariot given by Agnidev, the horses given by Chitraratha, Hanumanji on this chariot. Just this one chariot was itself a heavy weight for Duryodhana. If Duryodhana was intelligent enough, just seeing these personalities there, he shouldn't have fought. He should have just surrendered. Even before the war started, there are so many signs of victory of the Pandavas. So we'll stop here at this point. we'll continue ahead. So ahead in this chapter, we will see how. And now see the conch shells are blown. Matlab war is about to start. Conch shells are blown on both sides. Now the war is about to start. But suddenly there is change in Arjuna. Arjuna is all set to fight. But suddenly when he sees Bhishma and Drona, he starts to melt. He starts to become very emotional. And he just can't fight now. Right? And then Arjuna, in this chapter ahead, Arjuna gives various reasons why he can't fight. Very intelligent reasons he gives. That's how chapter 1 continues. Anyone has any questions, any comments on what we discussed till now?
So I was just going to suggest
Yeah.
maybe one of the ladies who are really can keep a tab where we are up to Gita. So next week we can continue from there. No?
Yeah.
Because Prabhuji teaches so many classes.
Yeah.
So
I'm
yes,
grateful for that.
So I pass the responsibility on both. I don't know. Both of you. So what we agreed with Prabhuji and few of the devotees was कि half an hour we would continue with